Capricorn, it's Empress Rose. Welcome to your reading. General reading, take what works, leave what doesn't. Feel free to check your sun, moon, rising, and Venus. One of those might resonate more than the others or be more specific to you. So we're going to cut the deck here. And from the bottom of the deck, we have Six of Pentacles. Balance in the universe, giving, receiving. It's usually about unearned gifts. Either giving them or receiving them, but there's an overall sense of balance. Like they may be technically unearned, but there's a sense of, balance sort of restored to the overall cosmic process here. It is Pentacles, so it's usually something a little more physical, and it is, sort of balancing something out. So it's not necessarily, especially in this one, the way this deck, which is the Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinane, the way this deck does it, it looks more like something is needed to balance out just the, regular life flow, or something coming in to balance out sort of karmic gifts or something like that. So I'm also doing love or relationship readings over on Vimeo. So if you want to join me over on there, the link will be in the description here. All right, past, present, inner landscape. What's at issue? Environment, to-do list, possible outcome. To-do list is always, there are some of these to-do lists or what you need to do or that are just funny. Like, how do you just be that, just be this thing. Just be it. Okay. So in the recent past, we have 9 of Pentacles. Let's see. Oh, well, we have like a full balance. Every suit is represented here. So we have 9 of Pentacles. So having achieved something, having accomplished something, the first part of a process, which you are continuing on with, but the first part of a process, the fruits of your labors are in. You grew from the muck and the mud, and you grew from an experience, and so you are familiar with the first part of some sort of overall process, or with this success, a completed transformation, a completed process. It's maybe not the whole process, but it is like a good chunk of the process, a good sort of like a chapter in the book has been successfully completed. So you've been successful in the past, Capricorn. And then we have Knight of Wands here. So it's almost like this is someone coming in with communication, maybe letting you know how successful you were in the past, or maybe having to do with that past there, the thing that you were successful with, or at least successful with one chapter of one thing. So I always see like the it's considered like the Empress in Waiting card, or the to me it's the successful farmer. They grew the crop. Now we have, what are we going to do with the crop? How are we going to store the crop? Are we going to, are these grapes that we're going to juice and turn into wine? Are we turning it into beer? Like, what's the next step in this process? But this process with this skill set, good job, well done. New skill set may be needed here. So we have the Knight of Wands. We have this communication. It could be kind of impulsive, come in a little rapidly. It could be about passion and excitement. It is about some sort of past success, though. So there's some sort of communication here. That's what it looks like from my end here. The Knights are about communication. They're about the throat chakra. And they're about opening up communication. The Wands are passion, creativity, sexuality even. So this could actually talk about someone who likes to move a little fast physically, or someone who's more of a physical lover type person, or just, impulsive communication coming in, or intuitive communication. It may not be like well planned out. We haven't been thinking about what we're going to say for 4,000 years before we say it. We didn't write it out and rip it up and write it out and rip it up and write it out and rip it up. This is just like coming out, just whoop, there. So in your inner landscape, 5 of Cups. So this is our grief and disappointment card. So you're still grieving over something here. Maybe this communication that's coming in or has come in, it fills you with regret, and you're very focused on what you've lost. You have a lot more. The thing is, though, is that these emotions, the water is meant to flow, tears are meant to flow, the emotions are meant to flow through your body. So don't try to stop them or avoid them, or even if they have to do with regrets of your own behavior, which can tap into shame, just still sitting with that. And I like how this crow really is sitting with this spilled emotion, this flow of emotion. So you're going to have to feel it. But that's what emotions are meant to do. We're meant to feel them. And then we can build like trust in ourselves and trust in our own maturity by, not necessarily taking immediate action on that. Hold on. Okay, you guys, that's really funny. As we all know, whatever happens during these readings have something to do with the reading. So interruptions like that. So as soon as I started talking about things meaning to flow, my nose started flowing. I don't have a cold. I am not sick. It just randomly started flowing as soon as I started talking about that. So I think that is pretty funny. So anyway, these emotions are meant to flow. Let them flow. You have a lot inside of you, so letting them flow. I also want to mention Alexander Lowen's work with sort of his body work and releasing the places where we tend to hold tension. So and then there's also, massage therapy. Oftentimes people will cry in massage therapy because we're holding, these muscles are actually can function as energy batteries, right? And so when they're massaged out, when we have tightness because we're holding our emotions in, and then someone releases that, the emotions that were associated that we didn't want to feel or whatever release. So in a good way, it's separated from the storyline, so we don't get sucked into the storyline about why we're feeling this emotion, and we can just let it flow rather than rehearsing or repeating the storyline behind those emotions. So just making sure that these emotions that you are feeling, that you're not suppressing, you're not storing them in your muscles. I mean, we have like time, like hours or in a meeting or something like that, where we can't like really let these emotions flow, but we can promise ourselves that later we will allow that part of ourselves to come out and to be experienced. We are experiencing it already, all of these emotions, just whether we're allowing them to flow through us or suppressing them, storing them, whatever. And then that can also lead to somatization disorders and stuff like that. So there's some sort of impulsive communication, and inside you have these emotions that are meant to flow. And life is moving on. You can't cross the same river twice, both because you're different and the river is different and the bank is different and every molecule in the river is continuing to flow. So life is flowing on. And you may be experiencing some regrets or some sadnesses about this flow, this moving on. So even though you were successful, things have changed, or there's some part of that also creates grief in a way. It's almost like, successfully parenting someone to adulthood also means like letting them go when they get there, which can be sad and can actually sometimes trigger, the things you didn't get to do, or the ways that things played out or whatever. So there is like some regret and some sadness here. What's at issue is the Lovers in reverse. So not feeling like you have a choice. This might be someone else's decision. Feeling separated from something that you love. Feeling disconnected from something that you love. Feeling a dichotomy. Or just simply not having a choice. This isn't up to you. And these regrets could actually be about not going towards something you love, not engaging fully with something you love, and sort of the cascading results of that. You might not be like seeing where you do have a choice, or seeing how these things can come together. I'd say just not feeling like you have a choice, or not feeling like any of the options in front of you are really inspiring or really engage you or really speak to you. There's a sense of being sort of separate from these things that, it's just separation of from something that would bring you joy, and not, it's like you don't have a choice. You don't have the option, either because a better option, an option that really resonates you, doesn't exist here in this situation, or because someone else has made a decision that you don't love. That you don't love. In your environment, this is interesting. You have 2 10s here and a 5. 5, 6, 7, 2 10s. Okay, so here's the 10 in your environment. Some sort of torturous experience is over. The environment is as bad as it's ever going to be. This is the worst. No wonder you're grieving, like, and you feel separated from something. This is the worst of it. It's not coming from you. You're not causing it, but someone else may have stabbed you in the back, may have betrayed you. That is so funny, you guys. I put up my Christmas tree, and as I'm talking about this 10 of Swords, I realized that I have a needle, a tree needle poking into my leg. It's like stuck in my pants, my little sweatpants here. It's poking into my leg. This reading is absolutely wild. I don't actually have Capricorn in my chart. I don't have any planets in Capricorn. And obviously I have a house ruled by Capricorn, but I don't have any planets in Capricorn, or events or anything interesting in Capricorn, except for my whole family of origin, or most of it, much of it. So anyway, I don't know why I'm getting poked and flowing here in this reading, but so this 10, well, I'm looking forward to the to-do list. That should really be the best then, if I'm going to experience every single card here physically. Well, we were talking about this happening very physically, and with the Pentacles. So 10 of Swords, the end of a difficult situation, final backstabbings. This is what someone else has been experiencing, or what your environment contains. Harsh words, possibly verbal abuse, arguments, something where it's just, but the good news is, there's good news here. This is such a horrific looking card, right? Sometimes this also talks to me about surgery and stuff like that. Just because there's just a lot of scalpels here, like swords could be really large scalpels that hurt, you know? So, and then maybe we're making some stitches here. That's not generally the reading of this card, but in order to make the stitches, you have to make the cuts. So, so that sometimes, I don't know, that's how I'm feeling right now looking at this, is that this one's having some back surgery or something like that. But it's over. Like the worst is finishing up. It's not necessarily over, but it's finishing up. There's not really much left here in this situation that's painful. If you've been harassed by someone, they're moving on. If people have been gossiping about you behind your back, they're moving on to other topics, other people, which isn't great. We just kind of want their mouths stitched shut too. Gossip can be so destructive, especially because people hearing it don't necessarily recognize it as gossip. They might recognize it as being given some sort of helpful, useful information about somebody or something like that. And they don't necessarily see that what's actually happening here is someone has taken their interpretation, intentionally or unintentionally, and is putting it out there. So a lot of people involved in sort of gossip and rumor mills aren't really trying to be involved. They're just lacking discernment, or maybe caught up in a moment. And then there will be a certain number of gossipers that are doing it intentionally to harm people and ruin their reputations. So, but a lot of people are just unintentionally receiving what they think is information and passing it on, not understanding like that's actually what it is. So, okay. So we have 10 of Swords here, the end of some sort of difficult situation. It's ending. It may not be, it's the last little bits, and then healing can occur. And this healing comes in like the opposite of a wrecking ball, like a star, like a glorious comet. This is happiness. 10 of Cups, happiness after the storm. Look at this separation. And then this almost seems like it's balancing out this harsh situation in your environment. But I mean, you know, just be happy is like a little bit of a weird thing. It's true. It's a choice often. Most often it's a choice. And then every so often life gives some circumstances that help that choice be easier. And it's not a choice you can, you know, take on all the time, or, you know, you have to process all these emotions. So you can't just be like, no, I'm going to be happy, even though I have like a crap ton of horrible emotions. This could be an argument where this Knight of Swords said something very impulsive to you, really hurt your feelings. But this is sort of the end of the situation, and you might feel separated from someone that you love or care about, or you might feel isolated from something that you love and care about. This is the end of the situation. Balance is being restored. You're going to be very happy. So this is success after difficulty. Look, we've got this, usually it is with other people, with relationships. We've got this little couple of ravens here. And here they're in separation. They're upset with each other. They're going in different directions. They're not cohesive or getting along. Here we have the rainbow after the difficulty, the rainbow after the storm. We've grown a lot from this storm. We are comfortable and situated here. We're seeing the others in our life through love rather than suspicion or disappointment. And so there's just a lot of happiness and joy here. Connection to others after a difficult time, which we've definitely seen here. Possible outcome. Well, enjoy it while you can. We have 7 of Swords here. Well, this could also be just like, 7 of Swords is about non-communication. It can be about like winning at all costs. It can be about the silent treatment, which is very different than removing yourself because of boundary issues. So that's about you and what you want in your life. And silent treatment has a goal of punishing someone or forcing someone to do something, where just, you know, boundaries look more like, I don't want to experience this right now, so I'm going to distance myself from something that is harming me. So that's more about a choice about you. So there's this line in between that I think some people can be confused about. But the 7 of Swords to me is like just coming after this 10 of Cups, where we're happy after the storm. There could be things that go unsaid. Like it could be, I'm getting this, bury the hatchet is what I'm hearing. Is like, you know, we've got the Swords, so we're just going to bury the hatchet, or we're going to leave some of it unsaid. We don't necessarily need to say all of our thoughts here, is what I'm saying, right? We want a good clearing of the air. And that's a little bit of what I can see in this 10 of Cups, is a bit of, you know, the air is cleared. It's the rainbow after the storm. So we have to have some sunshine and some clarity come in order to create a rainbow. We had the storm evidence here. That water flowed down from the heavens. We may have cried a lot. We had the storm. Now we're having like some sun, some clarity, some understanding come in. And you're really embracing that. In the future, someone may not tell you something. This Knight of Wands may just zip their lip and keep their harsh truths to themselves in the future, for better or for worse. You might, there also might be a time of just like not talking about what happened. Someone may decide that that's the right choice for them, to just not revisit this argument or this situation, just because we don't need there's no room for any more swords here. So So, yeah, someone may go silent, may not talk to you about something that might be a blessing. It's going to be an intent to avoid conflict. So sometimes that can involve like sneaky behavior and that kind of thing. But other times it can just be like, you know what, I probably don't need to say this, right? So, so it'll, yeah, it could go either way of someone being like, well, that didn't go well. So they either, it can be passive aggressive behavior, but it can also be very prudent behavior, very wise behavior to avoid an open conflict if it's unnecessary, if you've already been down this. This kind of reminds me of the Gottman Institute's work on couples and how most couples have unresolvable problems, and like accepting the unresolvable problem and maybe just not bringing up that you bringing something up all the time once it's recognized as like an unresolvable problem. Just like, oh, there it is, there's our unresolvable problem. Do we want to go on this merry-go-round argument again, or do we just want to be like, oh yeah, that's the unresolvable problem, we've already had this argument 20 times, let's just I don't know how they deal with it with the Gottman Institute, but that might be something to look into. But it does look like maybe someone keeps some things to themselves going forward, just avoiding conflict. It can, I don't know, I used to hate the Seven of Swords. Like, oh, someone's being sneaky, someone's lying, someone's keeping the truth away from you. But sometimes some truths are simply our truths and not truth with a capital T. And sometimes they don't need to be shared every time we have a thought or an idea or a truth that comes through our mind. We don't need to share it. So, you know, conflict avoidance can be pathological, but it can also be extremely healthy. And I'm not really getting a sense of which is which here, but I could ask for clarification, which I might do that, which actually might be part of what's going on here is asking for clarification going in the future. That can be a great way to avoid an argument rather than, you know, they say something and you're like, what is that? But just asking for clarification, and being open to the answer. So that could be actually what we're talking about here is like, in the future, there will be things that go unsaid, and you can ask for clarification. Don't forget that you can ask someone to clarify what they mean. Thicket of Thorns, uncertainty. So a thorny situation, a deer, some butterflies for synchronicity here. A hat. But also the Thicket of Thorns talks about the right way forward will reveal itself when it's time. You don't know what to do, so just stay still. Stop fighting a situation and just stay still until the right answer arises all by itself, as the Tao Te Ching says. We have Phoenix transmutation. So rising from the ashes, using some sort of raw materials here to become stronger, better, renewal. I think we can see a lot of renewal in these Ten of Cups. And of course, if you see a phoenix in real life, definitely be paying attention to that. But also a bonfire. That sounds kind of fun. Bonfire. For winter solstice. Stag spirit leadership. So taking initiative. Also, we have another stag. We have a deer and a stag here. So this could be a synchronicity card. Stag spirit leadership, taking initiative, and air spirit knowledge. We have a little boat. If you see a boat in the sky, for sure. This could also be an airplane, for sure. I mean, we're trying to do a little more old-fashioned. Old Denise Lynn in the Sacred Forest Oracle is taking an old-timey take on an airplane, I think. So knowledge. And what are you going to do with it? Yeah, I'm not going to ask for clarification on that Seven of Swords because I think the clarification I needed was that it needs, you need to ask for clarification. Should conflict arise in the future, you can avoid it, ask for clarification, or just dive right into another war. So the uncertainty sort of gives way to more initiative, and it gives you a lot of information. It's amazing how afraid of information we are, of the truth, of communication. Yeah, someone here might be afraid of communication in the future, worried about communicating something in the future. Because air spirit, I mean, that's swords, air, information and communication. So like, how are you going to handle something in the future is what I'm seeing here. And information is something that we can always, people, you know, it's just information. It doesn't hurt us. We make decisions with information. Other people make decisions with information. But information only adds to our decision-making process. It doesn't make the decision for us. So Brawny Bear, power, inner strength, rejuvenation, which is definitely what I'm seeing here with this Ten of Cups, rejuvenation. Mighty guardian of the woods, connect me to the power of the earth. Feeling more grounded. I see like a cave and hibernation here. Feeling more part of, like, all of these swords and wands and cups are all way up here. You know, and overall we start with this like pentacles, and so feeling more grounded because we have a lot of emotion, a lot of words, a lot of thoughts going on here. And sort of the groundedness all seems to be in the past here. So returning to some sort of more grounded state, which I think is going to be more comfortable for Capricorn. Hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for joining me. Ciao.